have some experts here again, so if you have any questions that you would like to ask about the camera display, battery, or power management. Any questions? I thought of a couple of questions when you were all listening. I'm interested to know a little bit more about the interoperability events. Jim and Dale, what are the objectives that you're trying to achieve? What's the process that you're going through during these events?
Sure. I mean, the point is to put lots of devices on the test bench and see when you combine a pair of them, whether they work. And I mean, it sounds fairly basic. There's a lot of planning and organization that leads up to that sort of event. There are things that need to get discussed and agreed on that go beyond the specification in order to really make those two devices talk together. The results you get are an actual sheet. You know, it'll be a spreadsheet of green squares and red squares and things that work together and things that maybe didn't. Fortunately, I think in both the case of the camera interop and the display interop events, we've enjoyed a surprising and very pleasing level of interoperability right out of the gate. I think that speaks to the quality of the specs and also the hard work that the companies put into their implementations. The goals are twofold. One is to support the growth of the market. And when you have products that interoperate, the market can thrive. There's probably more that we go into there, but the other main thing that comes out of it is there's actually benefits that folds back into the standards organization. The things you learn about what's working and not working when two devices either do or don't work together can help you examine the specification itself, figure out where it's strong and where it's weak, and make improvements in areas that might need some help. So there's planning going on right now for more display activities and more camera activities, and as well as other interop too. We've resourced outside experts in MIPI to try lots of our specifications. We're expecting a lot more test activities will probably happen in the coming months and years.
I'll add to that. In supporting it, it is a learning experience, and as Jim pointed out, you learn a lot about your products, and it gives a, specifically it really helps companies who are coming into the organization come up to speed quickly. So if you're new to MIPI or you're an adopter and you haven't seen the specification in the past, you can work with the interoperability lab, and you can work with the host processor company who you may not have a lot of information from, but you get an hour or you get several hour block to actually work with them engineer to engineer. It's under a confidentiality agreement between the two of you, and you can then take that information, and especially if it's successful, OEMs want to understand who's working together with each other. It helps their product selection, and it helps their product implementation. So you get off to speed, and you come up to speed running very quickly. The display, as I said in my presentations, had 2 events, and we're lucky to be able to bring host processors together with display panels. And these are very, very different technologies. The host processor people are companies that are dealing with ridiculously small nanometer processes, and the display panels are up in the quarter and 0.18 micron, dealing with very slow things. And you need to have those technologies work together flawlessly. That's what the interoperability session does. It's nice to be able to move it around now that we're out. We've worked with University of New Hampshire before. Now we're able to come out to the West Coast, bring it closer to people that may not have been able to get there in the past. So it's a great event for those kind of things.
One of the values that we talk a lot about in the MIPI Alliance is not only engineering reuse and better utilization of engineering resources, but also time to market for end products. Can you speak a little bit about those 2 topics as they relate to your interoperability events?
Well, the time to market and bringing up especially the serial interface, it's a complex technology that is going in 500 and 800 megahertz range. The tools that are available for interop testing allow you to manage those speeds very easily, and well, not necessarily easily, but certainly within a controlled environment. And you can then look at your product, determine whether it's working in a best case scenario, and also testing it against many of the corner cases. And as you may know, as a vendor, Making sure you cover those corner cases is a key to a producible product. And the sooner you find out about that, the sooner you can test it, even in FPGA implementation or in the final product and do a quick spin. So those kind of things help you bring the product to market very quickly.
Maybe one of the very few things I could probably add to Dale's good summary is the various materials that MIPI makes available to its members that really help both internal testing teams and that company's participation in organized events. They're right up there for download. I think they're really helping some companies, and we also find that there's some other supporting activities provided by some other MIPI members that provide verification products, and that can really help the company get to market fast as well. So this is all, of course, evolved over time. Whereas 3, 4, 5 years ago, we were just a bunch of engineers sitting in a meeting room thinking about what was required. Now we have not only specifications, but supporting test products around all those interface standards and products based on them. So.
Yeah, actually, why don't I summarize what those are, because Jim reminded me that those are available. You have the specification which normally organizations have. That's what the device is and how it works. There's also a test interoperability spec that has been written by MIPI for displays and for cameras. There is a test compliance document, and what that does is it is a list of tests that says your part, for the to the best of their ability, actually complies to the spec. And the organization that's testing it will actually give you a letter that says, yes, you comply, and that is something you can take to procurement and say, no, I've got a good part. It gives added value to that, and all those documents are available, where some organizations, those are hard to write, and all those are already provided.
Right.
Can you talk about some of the ecosystem support for these interfaces? I mean, there's different people maybe doing chip design. Some people may just want to integrate chips. If you could give a kind of a brief overview of the kind of support that's out there to support people interested in these MIPI interfaces.
Okay, well, we have talked about the testing and the interoperability. There are companies in our organization that provide Verilog, different RTL models and test benches in the software domain, and that will help you do design. So, the large companies such as, Cadence, Synopsys, they can help your design get going. Those are well-known models, and they've worked with the organization, within the MIPI organization, so that gets you started at the design level. They also embed in their products the compliance documents, so that you're working with something that actually looks like it's had a very good chance to come out the back end. And then I think that's probably a good part there.
Yeah, and for a lot of the technologies, there are IP vendors.
Right.
They got stuff they're very happy to talk to you.
Yeah, well, we also have the test equipment vendors that are writing scripts so that their oscilloscopes, pattern generators, things like that, automatically work and test the MIPI specifications. So there's a lot of automation in the process that allows you to get that time to market down.
For those of us that have been involved in MIPI for 3, 4, 5 years, it's really pleasing to see this kind of level of support across the industry, and therefore the success of these interface standards. I think it's pretty clear that in many cases, I think DSI and display serial interface, CSI and camera serial interface, those are pretty much the go-to standards for building products in this industry. And it's been great to enjoy that success, and the support that's been built around the specifications and products on the market, I think reflects that.
Any questions?
So where exactly the next interrupt event is going to be on the West Coast?
Exactly
Where's
where?
the next?
I don't know that the exact location has been selected, but I think there's a preference to have it on the West Coast.
Yeah, we're looking at the, if it, on the West Coast, it would either be the Bay Area or Irvine, Orange County area. But as yet, we should be able to announce that probably within a month, but we have to pin down a few more details. But the date is definitely November 2010.